Okay, whew. So here in New Zealand, I'll take that off too, it's coming up to brumation. Certain parts of the country which are a little bit further south, which is relative to the northern hemisphere, is more than further north, uh, they will be experiencing brumation maybe a couple of weeks ago or so. So here we go. Basics and fundamentals of brumation. Tortoises, depending on sex, I find, species, and age, generally all have different times of brumation when they choose to brumate. It's relatively humid here. We get a lot of rainfall in the winter, so we don't let our tortoises brumate naturally in the soil. We have hutches, we put barley straw. It's extremely important to use barley straw. We have the hutches dry, waterproof, and the big reason for that is to prevent any type of shell rot. We're in the foothills of the Waitakeris. Waitakeris are notorious for being very humid. That's the main reason why I have a dehumidifier in the croft shed for the incubator, because the environments these tortoises come from are very similar temperature-wise, but when it comes to humidity, especially in West Auckland, there's other parts of the country, lower down south like Cromwell, that are almost mimic a lot of their habitat perfectly. I can only talk by experience and what we experience here. So we do not get snow. We barely get a frost in most people's world. So the lowest it gets down to 0 degrees in the very early mornings, and then we'll get a bit of a frost on the cars, and that's in the darker areas. That's 32 degrees Fahrenheit. I've got to do the whole Fahrenheit thing. We will experience between 0 and 5, or 32 to 41, maximum of about 4 or 5 days of the year, but that will also mean that the skies are clear. And so we're early autumn. It's been a relatively cold summer. We haven't got up into the 30s here, which is a bit frustrating for me, but high 20s. We're in the low 20s at the moment. It's 11:15. So the big thing to understand is that tortoises are cold-blooded. So where the switch is between when they want to start going into brumation, and this is what I keep on talking, it's not like mammals or bears, for example, whereas that they will fatten up. They'll eat, and they just spend their whole time eating. That is not what happens with reptiles. They actually will start cooling down. They will, and then, we'll get back to the bears. The bears go into a den, and that's it. They have a one-shot period. If it heats up and they wake up and then it snows again, they're in trouble. We don't have, that's nothing to do with us, with the husbandry of tortoises here. So tortoises have to actually bilge their stomach. So what they'll do is they'll start winding right down, stop eating, and then what they'll do is they'll generally go into brumation for a couple of days or a week or so you won't see them. They'll start winding down completely from maybe a couple of weeks to right up until whatever date it is. It's not a date, it's just temperature. And the temperature switch is between 18 and 16 consistently. So I think we got about 14 overnight. And then so as it gets cooler and cooler, and if they bury down into the soil temperature is a lot lower. So they'll go away. And I've noticed that a lot of young tortoises that come straight out of indoor keeping into outdoor keeping will have a much longer brumation for that first winter. Diaminiana did that. She was even in hatch care, which is a greenhouse. She still would have been away probably a good 6 months. And so with new keepers, this is generally the time of the year that they think their tortoises have been stolen. it's a very common thing here in New Zealand. Not the stealing of tortoises, but the thinking, and then they will turn their enclosure upside down trying to look for this tortoise. Just leave it if that's the case. I'm 50-50 with that, because I don't believe in soil brumation where we are. I I can't, I know a lot of places in the world fridge incubate. I don't understand that. I can't have that comprehension as well. That sort of scares the hell out of me, actually. And I do see that there is a few posts every year in regards to them fridge incubating and them not surviving, which is always argued that fridge brumation is safer than any type of brumation. Well, yeah, if you're that scientific about it and so forth, whereas we just let them do it. We're a very similar climate. It doesn't get too cold, so as I was saying, it seldom goes below 42 degrees Fahrenheit or 5 degrees Celsius, and that's for maybe a week. They will go into brumation between 64 degrees and 61 degrees, or 18 degrees and 16 degrees. So now you'll see that in the indoor enclosures, this is what point of the year we basically stop. So we from now on till spring, we have the lights set at this setting. So they're not necessarily, and the heating never goes below that. I've got a ceramic heater in the shed, so overnight it will never drop below 16 degrees. It will stay, the ceramic heat comes on at 18 degrees, which is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. And so we never have the indoor keeping going too cold. We also have aircon in the summer, so it doesn't get over 32 degrees. We keep the thermostat at maximum of 29 degrees, which must be around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't believe, especially in the hatchlings and the very young ones, but in general, I don't believe you should not be using spotlights to be heating your tortoises. Use some type of heat source. If you're indoor keeping, it's more about good lights through T5, LEDs for plant growth and things like that, and having them on a parabolic curb, because we don't get 100% sunlight all day long. It's on a parabolic curb. This is why I recommend the luminized system, because you can put the percentages in and they gradually go up and come down as the sun would set. You don't leave a tortoise sort of stranded, out on a high point or anything like that, and it just doesn't go like that from night to day. They're a brilliant step in indoor husbandry, and I thoroughly recommend it. You always have your heat sources on a thermostat. We have it on a dimming one, and you have the thermostat on a timer between 10 and 2 o'clock. Yeah, so we actually mimic the whole daylight as it goes here, but then we cap it at the end of March. And so they're not growing hugely over winter in our husbandry. They're not getting kept at the middle of winter. They're getting kept basically the end of autumn and early spring. So then when it comes to early spring, we can put them outside and they will just gradually go on. That's the last time our tortoises stay inside. And saying that, that's the other side of it, is that the babies and part of the enclosure that we have Miracle, and I will be bringing in her again just because we're sensitive, and her and Montana can get to know each other, let's say. Besides that, be careful of humidity. I notice in other countries, so more relative to slightly further south here, well, other countries I'm talking about is the UK, which is a lot closer to the Arctic than we are to the Antarctic. So we're more Spain. I think we fall in Spain and France, New Zealand, relatively speaking, with temperatures and climates, give or take. And that's exactly the same opposite side of the world. So just had to take a phone call. So sorry about that. It was relatively business talking phone call. Got my more coffee. Gonna take you for a little bit of a walk and talk because it must be bloody boring watching me talk about brumation for at least 10 minutes or so. So let's see some animals, woo, and see what they're all doing right now, and give you some sort of ideas of, you know, go through it a bit more firsthand, tactile wise. So here we go. We'll just do a quick check with the with the box turtles and see what they're up to. Okay, Jesse's James in there, but Bellstar isn't. I've got to do the water. Reminds me, that's good. And so then we'll go check. I'm pretty sure Panga and Jilly have already come out. Nope, yeah, definitely, and Zeus is trying to get out too. There's more than Panga is doing a little bit more. Sorry, buddy, for breaking the mood and all the rest of it. So Panga is doing a little bit more. So back to it. This is barley straw we always have in their hutch. I will clear it out. I get it from saddleries, so horse places. Jilly is probably not really wanting to be bothered. They do a lot of mating at this time of the year, so I've had to section them off a bit. We are in suburbia, so you might hear a car next to us. So this is what people are concerned of. I've got to clean out those bowls. But this time of the year, so we have them in hutches here. You'll notice also this is the hotter hutch, but they don't really like to use it too much. So gee, right through the winter they'll still use this back hutch. And with the hutches we have boards, so I can actually section that off completely, section this one off completely, and that's the outside door that gets shut every night. This is all going to be replaced, but this is the other thing is, so during the middle of winter, because of the barley straw and so forth, they'll be more insulated. So, and generally on cold days in where we live, it's going to be a clear, beautiful day like today. So mornings and nights, because the heat is not kept in. And you'll see she's really cold at the moment. You know, I'm being naughty because I'm actually just going, hey, have a little bit more. You didn't have the greatest of summers. Get out there and enjoy it. I've got lots of hibiscus that need to be eaten. And so we don't use any artificial heating besides greenhouses and cold frames that I do recommend most climates. To keep, you'll just get a little bit more out of your tortoise, I believe, and it also where we are in Auckland, New Zealand, we don't necessarily get the constant high heats. So there they are there. That's our two beautiful big girls, Marigold in the front and Margarita in the back. So, and Zeus is just the big star. Aren't you, buddy? You want a tickle? Sure, you're warmed up a little bit. Shall we have a close look at him, eh? That's our Zeus. Looking very cute, aren't you, buddy? There you go. So, but Zeus is a bit of an anti-brumator, so he's awake, so he doesn't go into brumation. And you can see here Panga's doing nipping. So Panga is needing a little bit. He's also really warm. Let's go see how warm Panga is, eh? Do a little bit of a science experience. So that nipping is not aggression. It is, put you down there, bud, because we don't want you to. Yep, well, we might take off. I just gotta open that, grab that. See, so he's been thermoregulating at the front doorstep. Yeah, oh, I need new batteries. So his temperature, surface temperature, is actually 37 degrees. So that's why he's moving around quite a while. I'll flip him over. That's why he's also quite eager. Sorry about that. That's why he's quite eager to mate. See what his under temperature is. See, that's pretty impressive. 35, around 35 degrees Celsius. So he's managed to, what's the outside temperature? About 22 degrees. So in the sunlight, he's managed to get his thermoregulation up to the similar blood temperature to humans. So yeah, that is pretty cool. I can't really remember, but it's just the Greek girls definitely brumate. They're the biggest, and they also brumate the longest. Silly Jilly is one of the sort of anti-brumators, and I think that has a lot to do with her metabolic bone disease. Metabolic bone disease is caused from, I believe, way too much calcium and using way too much heat in juvenile stages. Yeah, so it's not necessarily counterproductive to use lots of humidity in their enclosures, as I've been schooled by Andy Highfeld. And so that's why I have a dehumidifier, and I have still proved to make perfectly smooth baby tortoises. And I don't use, we have humid soil, but we don't have humid hides. They can dig down into the soil, but we struggle to keep the humidity with the dehumidifier under 50%. So right here and right now, the relative humidity is around 70%. So in the middle of summer, it's in the 80s and 90s. If it's rained, it's nearly 100%. So there we go, another great day. This is when our hibiscuses all look lovely because we're not needing to feed them out as much. They're not eating as much. So yeah, he's having a wee bit of a, would you like a close-up look with old Punga, hey? You guys would probably like that. He might not, but there we go. Hello, Punga. How's my mate? You're very cute, eh? You're not all into the old tick. Oh, not too bad, eh? You're getting used to me being annoying, aren't you? Oh, just a little bit of love. We'll get there. You know we will. Hey, he's not the biggest fan. I don't blame him because I am the one who takes him away from his girlfriend and puts him in solitary confinement when he is, it's not a small area. Just to let everybody know, eh? You have a big area to wander around, you just don't have anybody to harass. Because you do like to harass pretty much everybody else in the creeps from time to time, don't you? Gives Zeus a bit of a... Anyway, it's probably annoying you and stressing you out way more than you need to be. He is kept very well. Tiny amounts of pyramiding, but I think this would fall into the natural growth period. Definitely not metabolic bone disease. We got him at, how old were you? About 12, I think. Mate, so he's around 15. I got a extra large hand, and he's about the same size as that. Anyway, we'll call that Brumation 101. So just to cap it off, don't stress, don't try and overfeed them. Be a bit cautious if the temperature in your area outside gets, you know, a lot of snow. I'm a city slicker suburbanite from Auckland, so in West Auckland, so we're not used to any cold temperatures. I get a little bit panicky when it gets down to 0, so I would recommend bringing them inside for that period of time in a box, or you know, like a wooden box with some barley straw, and just have them in for those periods that it may snow or whatever in a part of your garage that's not going to get under 5 degrees ideally, and not gonna get into the 16s and 18 degrees, is because then they'll start waking up. But that is the other side of brumation, is that if it does heat up, you will notice that they will get up. They may not eat. We've always got food, but we have water, so if there is a hot spell in the middle of late autumn or winter, early winter or late winter, you might actually notice them to get up. So just offer them water. We have food at all stages. They generally won't eat. The last thing you want to do is have food in their stomach while they're brumating, because that can rot. And what normally happens when we naturally brumate them is that they, as I said before, they'll get up and expel the last little bits of food in their gut, and then they'll go into into brumation for a few months. So this is old Punga trying to, he's gonna hunt down the girls, aren't you, Bunga? You've got the eye of intent, eh, buddy? So anyway, so don't worry about them not eating coming into brumation. It's natural, absolutely natural. Don't worry about them winding down and not wanting to wake up. Much like what I just did before, you can put them in the sun a bit. It's not going to harm them. Just understand sort of how they are. It's pretty difficult naturally keeping them to force them to do anything, to be fair. You just sort of more observation, and it's just the middle of winter and the humidity of things. Here comes Jilly. Hello, are you going to come? You want to come down? Hello, Jilly. Unfortunately, I got bad news for you here, you. I'll move them for you. Because here's old Bunga Pants. What's the interaction going to be? Yeah, she's not. Can't be bothered with you today, and you're hot. You're a hot sausage. Okay, I think I've sort of helped mainly with all the brumation. So I'm going to put them over here. Not me, buddy. I'll bet you now. Yeah. Have a look over there. So as you can see, maybe not through the mesh. Don't think Miracle's got up yet. No, she has, but she's just in there. I don't know if you can see that. Right there, aren't you, Miracle, you little eye? And then we have, so let's get back to the greenhouses. Right there is a wax opener, and they heat up at about 16 degrees. So you're never going to get them trapped in the heat in the middle of summer. Zoom out for you. Yeah, so you're never going to get them trapped in the heat in the middle of summer. We've got, pretty sure that is Tank. He wants more food. That's what he's all looking around. Come on. So, they get quite good sunlight in here. And I notice with Tank and Twinkle, they're more temperature tolerant, so they will sort of more brumate later and things like that. So it's all really quite flexible, not to stress about. There's no real control you can do unless you want to put your environments in the most sunniest part of your garden. That's what we actually basically do. Oh, there you go. That'll crack us up. Don't sting on Punga, but what's going on here? We have Daisy, I think has just climbed straight over Margarita, but gone the wrong way. What are you doing? Are you about to have a poo on her too, are you? Let's get you guys out. You silly dilly. You, Daisy, you're not that stupid. You just got bored, did you? Sick of waiting for old Margarita. Well, that's understandable. And then we have Zeus. Oh, yep. So it's going to be one of these days. There'll be a whole pile of breeders and other professionals outside, so I'll just let it do it. I'm actually going to put Zeus, because he's about to nip Marigold's foot, over here with our mate Panga. Then I'm going to close this gate up here, and they all can have a relaxing day. We don't need to have that sort of carry on today. Do we, Marigold? What I'll do is I'll put you in the sun, because that would help a little bit. So one thing about the males, they can be quite vigorous and with the nipping and so forth. So yeah, Marigold has actually suffered a little bit from on this leg here, from nipping and being a little bit sore. I also had to reduce her because she's got a bit of a wonky shell. I'm not going to flip her over and show you, but I've just sort of sanded smooth her in crotch area so she can walk a bit better. I was noticing that she was limping a little bit. She may go into the cold frame, but this is starting to be an extra long clip, and I really want to keep it down for all of you, because I also understand how boring I can be talking about tortoises. But I hope eventually we'll get a lot of people who find my boring videos exciting. And big shout out for the near 60 subscribers. Thank you so much. If you do stumble across this video clip, please, by all means, please can you subscribe. It's no cost to you. It means eventually once we get 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be able to monetize it, and it makes it much more rewarding for me, and my wife will let me do it. So there we go. There's a wonderful little Jilly. She's quite happily going to go for a month. So you can see we're still probably a good couple of weeks off, if not a month or so, of full brumation. If not 2 months. It's been a funny season. It would be normally quite a bit hotter this time of the year, and we've been getting condensation for at least a week or so. We've been beautiful hot days, but that just means there's no clouds, and then it's not hot. It's, you know, mid-20s, encroaching on the late 20s. But yeah, anyway, have a great day.